Okay, sorry. So I just started reading the developing an expansion, cadences, 13 week. I just read all that a second ago. Talisman was awful, but it did start a really good release cycle. Developed 19 leagues. This cadence had a lot of success with it. Agreed. The effects grew exponentially and allowed us to put even more content in each expansion. Expect community to grow. I even presented a GDC talk on this process, which was amazing. If that's the thing I think it was, that was such a good watch.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah, that was such a good watch. If you if you're nerdy about the video game stuff. Which was very well received within the game dev industry because it was amazing. Like, even other developers for totally unrelated games saw that and were like, this is actually a really good watch. Like, I still receive mail every week from developers or other studios who feel like the talk was of great value to their teams. Yep, things are going well and thought we knew exactly what we were doing. Yeah, that was a juicy fucking clip. Then 2020 hit and we exposed how vulnerable our development process was due to unexpected events. I was literally just saying that. To some extent, we were lucky that a Black Swan event, such as a key member leaving, hadn't caused similar disruption to our schedule before this. Oh. See, that's what I was talking about. Like, I was just saying earlier how, like, if their development team, if their company is a ship, it wasn't like it was floating fine. Like, over the last 3 or 4 years, the ship had leaks, and there was like people with buckets scooping all the water out of it, like manually. Like, that's not okay. You were not in a good place. The smallest thing, like the smallest fucking rainstorm, was all it would have taken, and instead you got an entire monsoon. Like, this was bound to happen. We want to preface this by saying that the government-mandated lockdowns were not the root cause of the issue. Yeah, they're New Zealand. They were fucking fine. They were down for 2 weeks and they were back up. But they had a significant impact in an already high-pressure situation. That's fair. Due to the way we've been developing expansions, we almost had no wiggle room to manage the additional overheads. Exactly! You gave yourself no breathing room. Even under normal circumstances, we're quite close. Yeah, we suck, we know. At least they acknowledge it. I like seeing that they acknowledge it, you know? Like, you could... After 2 lockdowns, the heist released by a week. And it was still not given enough to mitigate the combination of constrained resources and ambitious development. Of course, yeah, you really made a game within a game at the worst possible time. 100%. These pressure countries' borders are closed, which means our international hiring is frozen for the... Yeah, that's true. NZ locked themselves down. Which leads to the next issue. Regardless of how difficult pandemic pressure, hard to scope out, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. So this is them just saying, like, this is pretty much the same thing they just said, but they're trying to do it with as much, like, compassion as they can. So this next paragraph is just saying, like, what the first paragraph did, where it's like, we bit off more than we can chew with Heist due to the timing, but we also low-key don't want to admit it, but recognize that even if the pandemic didn't hit, we were actually effed. This was like, Heist in itself was never gonna be good because it was something that was just an idea that was like thrown around and it became a realistic thing, but at a certain point in the process, normally, someone would have shut it down. Someone would have been like, okay, wait, there's an issue here. This is, like, completely different from all of the last leagues we've done, but not because it's unique and different, because of all the wrong reasons. It's a different game within a game. But, like, they skipped that check and balance because of all the issues. Not enough wiggle room is an understatement. Facts. Another point in time is like feature creep. Wait, did I skip something? Into the good and bad ones, their clear pattern of times in development took less or more time than expected. Shows the correct scoping and risk mitigation is critical. See, they point that out now because Harvest was like a light bulb went off. Like, this did not take that much work, but it's actually really intricate and awesome and went fucking perfectly. Which I'm surprised. Harvest, you would think, took a while. It was cool. Feature creep. So we're the greatest features. Yes, but feature creep is your own fucking fault. I don't like that they're bringing this up because I hate that they do it in the first place. No one wants 300 systems on top of each other when half of them are irrelevant. It's a somewhat common problem in software development. For example, there's a boss in Diablo 2 called Creeping Feature as a nod to this over 20 years ago. Yes, but Diablo 2 made its game stop. Made an expansion, stopped. Even Diablo 2's leagues ran like 6 months at a time, if I remember right. Like, they were much longer than this 3-month chaos. Well, feature creep sounds like a terrible thing, a big creeper. Yeah, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Oh, I feel like this is the best time in the phrase. So this is just saying, like, hey, in addition to all of our other concerns, it gets compoundingly more difficult to deal with all the ins and outs of the game as the years go on, because we keep making the insanely fucking stupid decision of keeping every league mechanic as a core game mechanic. Which is not... I get the reason, the entire reason of having leagues, in theory, was initially to test out things to see if they should become a core game mechanic. The problem is, all anyone plays, after years of that happening, all anyone ever wants to play is the leagues. So Standard became dead. Even people who wanted to play Standard don't bother because there's no one there. The trading is like essentially dead. It's not completely dead, but it's essentially dead. And even if you wanted Standard, you end up on League anyway, and you just ignore the league mechanic. But it's like, this has become so much more than what you initially intended it to be. But at no point in time did they realize this and decide to address it accordingly. They just kept treating it like a beta cycle. But then you have people who don't realize that it's a beta cycle who hop in and are understandably frustrated and just say, why am I playing this? This is a badly designed game. And it's like, technically it's one of the best designed games in the fucking world. It's just a very badly designed season. But a normal player won't be able to tell a difference. Like, that's not... I'm sorry, I'm rambling. So that's feature creep. It should have been addressed. These are all things that none of them are new, and they should have been addressed, but it's one of those things that, like, a lot of companies have this, even not just video game companies, just companies in general. They'll continue letting let a problem be a problem until something breaks, until something happens and something snaps, and now it goes from being just an annoyance or a small problem to a huge issue, and now it's being dealt with. And all of the things that existed in relation to that all have to be addressed at the exact same time, instead of just slowly fixing things. We had a serious, late in Heist development cycle, we had a serious internal discussion about how we could restructure our development process so that subsequent expansions are less risky. The discussion resulted in an experiment that we tried to carry out for the next 3-month cycle. We have defined a very specific scope for December's 3.13 expansion, when a lot of new games come out and no one's going to play POE because you fucked up so much of Heist. It contains everything that a large Path of Exile expansion needs, but no more. But you don't know what we need, that's the problem. I'm personally handling the production. Okay, so this actually is Price Wilson. I'm personally handling the production of this expansion to make sure that no work creeps in that isn't in the planned scope. The schedule that we will hopefully achieve this approach will likely have... Can we just take a minute to talk about how Big Daddy Christ Wilson had to get up out the chair and say, alright, listen, fuck out of here. I'm taking over this. I'm done with your shit. I'm telling you, he died in Heist. He plays hardcore. I guarantee you, he did a Heist, died, and then just fucking went in there and raised hell. And then looked on like Reddit and forums to like try and figure out like, wait, is this good? Like, this feels bad. And found out that the entire fucking community hates it and everyone hates the game and everyone's pissed off, and he was like, we got a problem. And he just went in there fucking taking names. I'm so hyped about this. It's kind of a ticking time bomb in some cases. Unfortunately I have to go, but I'll make sure I keep an eye out for your next vid, my dude. Keep on having fun. Yo, thanks for stopping by, Bale Lilith. Fucking still love your name. That's awesome. But you take care, you enjoy your night. Hope you have a good time. And yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Personal handling, production, creature. Very stable, polished state. Okay, so Christ Wilson is coming in to make sure that the next expansion goes back to POE's roots. When Christ Wilson was in charge, POE was in its best state. As soon as he let the reins up to other people, it got slowly worse and worse over time. The positive consequences of this experiment are clear. If it succeeds, we'll be able to deliver 3.13 on time with a strong, stable launch, plenty of gameplay iterations, and solid testing of features. If this experiment works as expected to, we'll be able to continue it for future 13. They still want to do 13-week cycle. Still want to do the fucking 13-week cycle. No one wants that. Which we strongly feel is best for the continued growth and long-term health of Path of Exile before Path of Exile 2 is released. I hate to admit it, but that's actually a fair point. I forgot about POE 2. That's a fair point. The experiment comes with some side effects, however. You'll definitely notice that the patch notes are much shorter than they usually are. Oh, we don't have to read 3 books of how you guys broke and fix everything? Oh no! What will we ever do with all that valuable reading time that we wanted to invest? Much shorter than they usually are. That's because we're focusing on getting the most important changes done and doing them well. I'm aiming for us to try and fit the patch notes on just a few pages if we can manage it. This does mean that we have had to be careful and pick up battles, though. The balance changes we are doing have been carefully chosen to have the largest impact and fix real problems. Okay. It's also likely that we'll front. So, like, Winter Orb's probably still going to be garbage, but because they're nerfing Blade Vortex. TLDR. Impact fix real problems. It's also like that we'll be front load the announcement to have more of the expansion's content revealed at once, reducing the number of small teasers we post in the weeks following the announcement. Good. Like, don't. If it's gonna take away from your development time to like tease people about the expansion, don't do it. You don't need that much hype if you actually release a good game. Like, right now you need that much hype because people are always pissed. Our goal is that 3.13 takes 50% of the overall development hours of Heist, which feels like it took 5 hours. Which I know obviously is insanely not true, but which means going from a situation with overtime to a situation with testing time. Right. And yet feels like a large December expansion. If you're interested, it's an Atlas expansion. It's an Atlas expansion? Like War or Conquerors with an in-area combat league. Wait, what the fuck's an in-area combat league? Oh, I think that means like Delve. I mean, not Delve. That's the exact opposite. Delirium. I think that means like Delirium and Einharp, Bestiary, and Abyss. In-area combat league. I think that's what that means. And a few other bits and pieces. Like it'll happen in the maps. It either means, I'm pretty sure that implies that it's gonna happen in the maps. Or like, they say in area instead of in map because it could also happen while you're leveling. If you're interested, we'll be announcing it in a slightly different way than we usually do. Stay tuned. Yo, Pog. Yo, Pog Champ. Yo. I want to like PM him, but as soon as I click PM, it logs me out. It's like, stop. I need to pog on that post. Oh wait, these are the actual notes. These are the actual notes. Okay, let me stop the recording. But yo, I'm hyped. I'm so hyped. Christ Wilson came down from his heavenly throne and just fucking laid an earthquake down on everyone. Cause like, I do not hold anything against GGG's team for having, as a whole, I don't know how to word it, but like this expansion being so bad was inevitable. So it's not so much that the expansion was bad that pisses me off. As someone who's been playing their game since literally pre-Val, like pre the Verse expansion, and giving them large amounts of money on MTX, I'm more frustrated that it took this to realize that there was a problem. Like, your entire community base knew there was a problem and has been telling you there was a problem for years, literally years. And it took a pandemic to bring to light that there was indeed actually a problem. That being said, it's very reassuring to see the man that initially like designed my favorite game of all time had to come back from, like, he's been sitting behind, you know, sitting in the back, like letting the team do their thing, which you should. Once you get to that point, like, of a team, that's how it's supposed to run. The fact that he had to come out and like fucking dust off his shoulders and like roll in, like I could just see, like, there's these big doors, right, like these big wooden doors, and it's like a castle, and inside the castle everyone's screaming and I don't want to fall. Everyone's yelling, there's like fights breaking out, people are throwing shit, there's blood, it's a mess, no one's cleaned in weeks, and chaos. And then all of a sudden just the doors fly open, big epic noise, everyone just stops, they look, and it's this giant, like, fucking manly son of a Viking mother. You just with like a fucking wolf, like, you know when they like kill a wolf and then they like gut him and just they skin him and then they wear their skin as like fucking warmth for outside. Something like that with like big ass boots. Just he comes in, he just looks around, and he just fucking does like this backhand with such force that like the shockwave alone knocks everyone the fuck out. And then he just like walks over to this table, and it's like this big planning table, and like that's how they develop the game, is at this planning table. And he just sits down and goes like this, cracks his fingers, you know, just, and then he starts working on the next league. Like that's how I feel about that part specifically. Everything else in it is shit that I've been complaining about for like 3 years, so it's good to see. So it's annoying that it took this long, but it's very good to see. One Punch Chris. Yes, exactly. One Punch Chris. Doesn't matter the boss, it doesn't matter what's going on, just poof, done, ended. Alright, let's stop this recording.